Hey everyone, and thanks for watching our Stratosphere special on February 12th, 2023. So today we're um, continuing to look at the stratospheric developments over the North Pole at an HPA using the GFS run at meteociel.fr. So we've been seeing increased trends over the past 2 weeks or so of a warming around the, I'd say, middle of next week, and a second warming even at the end of the week after next. So there's a lot to focus on, and this could lead to a cold March, possibly even into April, with blocking in northern latitudes as the solar winds go into reverse. And also, we did have a warming in January. Now, it was forecasted to be a major warming, but it turned out to be a pretty minor warming instead. So, but these warmings look like they'll be major this time, and they definitely will. Well, I say with very high confidence anyway. They probably will send the solar ones into reverse. So I'll just go through the temperatures at an HBA over the North Pole and in its surrounding areas over the northern hemisphere to say. Sorry. So if we push through, we can see the warming sort of coming through into Siberia there on Monday. We get to -8 degrees before we get to freezing just about on Tuesday, and that goes into the North Pole and the Arctic Circle as well. So swamps, the oranges of swamps, the whole of the Arctic really. So around -16 there at its warmest on Thursday. As I push through, the warming briefly intensifies further there over northern Scandinavia into Friday, and then the warming sort of dies out a bit, and then the stratosphere sort of cools down a bit there, the polar vortex. I think that on this 12th one actually, we pretty much split the polar vortex. You can see how we have a whole, line zone of blue there, but as we just go through, we can see that the blue sort of one load goes off into Europe, another load goes to America, and the Atlantic. Watch here as it sort of splits. So we get the load of blue here over Scandinavia, UK, Northern Europe, and also over the US. So that may actually be a split of the PV. I'm not sure about that, but it looks like it. As we go through, then we sort of see that split continue. Again, one part of the PV here over America into the Pacific, and another part over the UK, Ireland, Iceland, Scandinavia, and Northern Europe. Now, I must say that this is a new thing on the GFS runs. The GFS 6 set and midnight runs, I don't think they really showed a split of the PV. But so this is actually something new. It's not been shown before by the GFS operational runs. So just to make that clear, because next time this runs, it may not show a split at all. But a split is a good sign if you want a genuine warming, proper SSW that will have strong impacts on the troposphere to have a split of the PV. As we go on, this is the other warming I was talking about here over Siberia, getting to -8 Celsius, and also going into the Arctic and the North Pole there. And that sort of that warming itself sort of splits in two, if you see what I mean. Unfortunately, it's not the PV. It's not the PV this time. That splits in two is the warming, and we sort of see the PV polar vortex starting to sort of power up again, very very slightly, but not so much so. It's not that cold, only -60 at its core. So that's something to keep an eye on. But I mean, this looks really quite weakened. It's displaced, and sorry. I'll just go through the probabilities of certain events occurring. So first of all, it's certain that we'll have a displacement event at least, because we currently have one. The PV isn't in its correct rightful place in the North Pole, there's a very high chance we'll get a reverse of the solar winds. And if that goes through the atmosphere, then we could see a reverse in the troposphere, leading to blocking over the Arctic and the North Pole, and therefore possibly very cold weather for us. And there's a very small chance that we'll get a very major SSW, and these blue colours will split, and that will be a very major SSW if that happens, and that will increase the chances of a tropospheric response. So that's basically what's happening with this warming. Pretty major, but not the most major warming, if you see what I mean. But a lot to keep an eye on. And recently we have seen some very cold GFS ensemble members. However, yesterday, I think that's the coldest. The ensemble member I showed yesterday was the coldest member that I've seen in my life, pretty much, that I've ever paid attention to. It may have just been that I was searching for a very cold member to show, but I mean, that was absolutely ridiculous. And it shows that the models are starting to play around with the chance of an SSW. Sorry, the models are playing around with the chance of impacts from the SSW that will definitely occur. There we go. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I think we're starting to see things become more concrete now. I'll be back shortly with our normal updates. So until then, hope you enjoyed the video, and bye for now.